Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading
Hey kids, if you wanted to know more about communism, you know where to go, right? Let's check out the political section of this library. Well, let's see. Anarchism, bureaucracies, Confucianism. This library certainly is thorough, isn't it? Ah, and here we are, communism. This is the communist section of the library. All the books about communism are here, and anyone looking for information on communism would start here. Okay, let's see. Here's a book about... Oh, hey! Hey, you're Pablo Neruda.
Me? Well, actually, Pablo Neruda is my pen name. My actual name is Neftali Ricardo Reyes Bartoldo.
Yeah, and I'm LeVar the Moose. Come on, Pablo, out with it. What are you doing in the communist section of the library? Come on. Now I know you joined the Communist Party of Chile in 1943, and you were elected into the Chilean Senate in 1945.
Cierto! I also have supported many communist leaders, such as Vladimir Lenin, the genius of our century, Joseph Stalin, and Mao Zedong.
Ah, Stalin, Pablo, really? That must have been quite controversial.
Yes. Oh, it was. And after Stalin was accused of crimes against humanity following the purges, I denounced my support. My support originally was for Stalin's victory over Nazi Germany. Let me read a few lines from one of my poems entitled Ode to Stalin, which explains my thoughts pretty well. To be men, that is the Stalinist law. We must learn from Stalin, his sincere intensity, his concrete clarity. Stalin is the noon, the maturity of man and the peoples. Now, as I'm sure you know, my work is first written and published in Spanish, my tongue, but it has been translated into dozens of languages.
Now, many of your works are inspired by your political beliefs and experiences, right?
Oh, yes. I began a series of protests after President González Videla was elected because he turned against the communists and had very repressive policies toward a certain group of coal miners who were striking. For these protests, and a poem I wrote called I Accuse, I was exiled. I moved to Europe. I traveled the world for about 2 years, living in Italy, France, Russia, China, and Mexico. During my exile in 1954, I wrote Las uvas y el viento and Odes elementales, which I consider the diary of my exile. I also finished writing Canto General, my epic for Latin America.
Ah, that is a great epic, but don't take it from me.
Reading Rainbow presents another Rainbow Reader from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Megan Weebler and I'm 8 years old and I just read a really good book. It's called Canto General by Pablo Neruda and it was written between 1938 and 1950. It contains 231 poems. The book is an epic for Latin America and like all other epics, it discusses the cultural values of the society. The most famous poem in the book is called The Height of Machu Picchu, and it talks about the history of Latin America from the Incas. Other poems in the book glorify the working class, denounce colonialism and foreign corporations, and even glorify the Communist Party. You'll like this book because it'll teach you about Latin America in a new style, poetry. But don't take it from me.
Senor Lover, I don't want everyone thinking I'm just some radical politician. What actually made me famous was the book 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair. It was published in 1924 when I was a child of nearly 19 years.
Now I remember it being quite a controversy over this one too, Pablo. The poem White Hills comes to mind.
Ah, see. After it was published, critics said it was too scandalous and too frank regarding sexuality. But in the 1960s, it was becoming widely read. I don't care what the critics say. As I say in my book Memoirs of 1974, poetry is not simply an expression of emotions and personality. It is a deep inner calling in man. And actually, 2 million copies had been sold by the 1960s.
That's quite an achievement, as was your 1971 Nobel Prize in Literature. Isn't it true that after receiving the prize, President Salvador Allende invited you to read for one of the largest audiences in history at Estadio Nacional?
See, about 70,000 people. And I have actually read for the other largest audience in history on July 15, 1945 in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Well, Mr. Pablo, you certainly have earned your title from author Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the greatest poet of the 20th century in any language. Our Rainbow readers will be sure to check out some of your great works. Well, see you next time.
Hasta luego.
I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.